Hey, Seth, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
You're on the air. Welcome.
You're cool. On the air with myself, Mike, Joe, and my brother, Clown Baby. We were
Clown Baby.
Yes, that's his birth name. It's fine.
All right, cool.
Yeah. I was looking at your Kickstarter a few days ago for the Mothman series, and I was taking a look at the smalltownmonsters.com, a site in which you run. And so where are you from, and how did you get started in filmmaking?
Yeah, I'm in Northeast Ohio, and I apologize that you looked at the website because it's it's atrocious. Yeah, I got into filmmaking totally by accident because originally Small Town Monsters was a book, and it didn't go quite the way I planned when I started submitting it to publishers. So I ended up kind of pitching these buddies of mine the idea of just getting together whatever equipment we could and turning one of the stories that was in my book proposal into a documentary. And that was pretty much how it began. Now, having said that, I was always very into film, and like my dream as a teenager, an angsty teenager, was to go to New York Film Academy and become a film director. So one of the guys who's actually working as our director of photography is one of the, like, him and I met because of our interest in becoming, film school geeks. So even though I didn't really connect the dots on the fact that I was making movies until after we had actually made Minerva Monster, it's something I've always wanted to do.
I think all of us in the show are from Ohio. Joe, you're from Ohio as well, right?
Born in Cleveland.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Canal Fulton, Ohio, in between Akron and Canton.
I'm in Wadsworth, dude. I go to Canal Fulton all the time. I was just at the what is it? The Sisters, the house, the Sisters House or whatever, the restaurant. Like a couple months ago, I had breakfast down there.
I know the Canal Boat Lounge. That's all I know. I haven't been back. I haven't been there in 15 years. But right. I live in Columbus now, so
cool.
Yeah, but very interesting that you live in Wadsworth. So you've been covering the cryptozoology and the paranormal stuff very well. You're doing documentaries on it. You've tried to do a book. What is the most convincing story you've come across so far when it comes to this weird shit?
It depends on what we're talking about, because I don't necessarily connect like the Bigfoot stuff with like Mothman. I think that they're two completely different subjects, but I like when it comes to Mothman, I don't know what to make of this story. Like, I was drawn to make a Mothman movie as much by the Silver Bridge collapse, which I consider to be a very natural, man-made disaster rather than some sort of paranormal instant. But I don't know. That's a good question. I think I'm really fascinated by the Minerva case, the Minerva Monster case. It's like this family in Minerva, Ohio, who had something coming up behind their house repeatedly over this one summer, throwing rocks at the roof of their house and stuff like that. And multiple members of the family saw this thing. Whatever they were seeing seems to have killed their dog by ripping it out of its leash and snapping its neck. It's just a weird story. It's one of my favorite stories just because so many members of the family saw this thing, and it's one of those stories where every time I hear an account connected to it that seems outlandish, it ends up being corroborated by someone, which is, normally you hear these really like ridiculous accounts and you kind of can write them off. And in the case of the Minerva Monster, and I'm not talking about like Bigfoot's disappearing through portals or anything, but more like, like for instance, there's a story in Minerva Monster where this guy told us that he was standing on the hill behind his house with a neighbor lady, and they were talking or something, and she was making fun of him for thinking that this creature was up in the woods. And so she turned and looked up into the woods, and she said, if you're really up there, why don't you hit me right between the eyes with a rock? And like, he told us that instantly a rock came out of the woods and smacked her right between the eyes. And it sounds like the most ridiculous, kind of outlandish story. And then like, I don't know, this past summer, actually, the guy's wife that was telling us the story, she dropped a bomb on me that she was there when it happened and she saw it happen. And then the woman, I actually met the woman this past summer who got hit between the eyes with a rock. She like totally backed that story up. And it's just, again, it's not like I'm talking about Bigfoot's disappearing into UFOs, but that particular little story sounded so silly to me, and then to have people backing it up. So I don't know. Minerva is probably my favorite of all of them.
Well, I mean, we talk about a lot of different goofy things on this show, and just because we talk about certain topics doesn't mean we necessarily believe them. But I want to believe certain things, whether there's concrete proof or not. I like to indulge in this stuff. In the stuff that you cover, Seth. Like, do you believe actually in these paranormal accounts when you're making a movie, or is it tongue in cheek? Do you take it serious, or are you just trying to have fun with the subject matter?
Oh no, I'm not tongue in cheek. I think there's plenty of that out there. My goal when we make the movies is actually to kind of bring back that 1970s documentary type of approach to Bigfoot and the paranormal. So like, a big inspiration for us is like In Search Of, and then just like documentaries that I watch. So there's, if you want tongue in cheek, you can go watch Mountain Monsters or whatever bullcrap's on TV. Whereas I'm more interested in, like basically telling objective documentaries about a subject that most people kind of laugh off. We don't bring our own slant to the movies, so they're not made to convince people of the reality of things that we don't know. I don't know for myself if these things exist, but rather they're very objective. They're told in the same way that I learned how to do newspaper reporting. I mean, we pretty much just relate the stories and let our audience kind of make up their own minds. Do I believe like 100% in Bigfoot or Mothman? Or I don't think I could say I do. I'm still very skeptical. I hate the term skeptical because people tend to try to label me then as like a Joel Nickel like skeptic, which I'm not. But I definitely have more of a skeptical approach personally. But again, my own personal interests and stuff kind of get written out of the movies. I don't include myself in the movies. My crew isn't a part of the movies. I just said the other day to someone, because they asked me if I'm like a big Finding Bigfoot fan or whatever, and I said honestly, I think our movies are more of a response to Finding Bigfoot and Mountain Monsters and all that kind of stuff than they are anything. I'm fed up with the kind of tongue in cheek and just like even the ones that take the subject seriously are so over dramatic. That kind of stuff turns me off. So I make movies about these subjects for the way that I would like to see these subjects portrayed on film.
Fair enough.
So like Ghost Hunters, is that the kind of stuff that you're trying to avoid? Like when you watch Ghost Hunters, you're like, oh my God, these guys are sensational. Like it's just a lot of hype and speculation. This is the kind of stuff you're not going for. And then you're also not going for the, right, look at that kind of thing. It's more just this measured look.
It's and like I totally understand those guys. I actually know some of the Ghost Hunter guys. I know the Finding Bigfoot. I'm going to be with some of the Finding Bigfoot guys in like 2 weeks, actually next Thursday. So I totally understand it's a job, and like I get their approach to the subject, and I get that they don't have a say over it either. They're working for a network, a multi-billion-dollar network that has a specific storytelling mode that they think applies to the demographics that they're targeting. But I don't have to worry about that crap because I make indie documentaries that we fund through Kickstarter. So, like nice. we're kind of able to do whatever we want and tell the stories in the way that we want to tell them. I mean, my crew, for the guys that are working on these, are mostly guys that I grew up with who just have fun making movies with me. They would make a movie if I was making a movie about like dress shop, like a wedding dress shop. They'd probably want to do it just because it's.
Oh, that sounds like a good movie.
Yeah, that's next actually. This is Small Town Monsters, the wedding dress shop.
Yeah, I like that.
I want to wear one.
No, so do I. We all have actually, but during filming, but anyway, yeah, it's. I don't even remember what I was talking about.
That's fine.
The wedding dress
I do have. Now, you might think this is not a serious question that I'm about ready to ask, but I'm absolutely serious about this, and I want you to ask this question on some more of the investigations you go on. I'm very curious about cryptozoological genitalia. I think this is a big thing that's overlooked in witness accounts. Like, as soon as I look at somebody, I'm going straight to the crotch. And so if I see a Bigfoot, I'm going straight to the crotch.
What about Bigfoot tits? I didn't even know if Bigfoot women, like female Bigfoots, do they have tits?
Well, I mean, in the Patterson-Gimlin subject, which is like the famous film of the. Oh my God, I sound like a total Bigfoot geek right now.
Yeah, you do.
The Patterson-Gimlin film shows the Bigfoot walking across the famous film. I mean, you guys know it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The one where the
we definitely know it.
Okay. I mean, that supposedly has boobs.
Oh, nice.
She supposedly had boobs, but yeah, I kind of agree because.
How big was it? C cup? Are we talking B cup?
No,
C
I mean
cup?
double D. She's good. She's good.
Okay, good to go.
Yeah. Hey, Joe, you're in jail now.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
No, but I actually kind of have the same question occasionally because I've never spoken to a witness who says a single word about like seeing a package, which to me is interesting because you're talking about an 8-foot tall ape. It's got to have something there, right?
Yeah, I would totally agree. Even when I'm walking my dog and I see another dog that's like not spayed or neutered, you're like, oh my God, look at that dog's balls. I mean, they're huge. Sure. I mean, not even like I'm like looking for it. It's just you see it peripherally. It's just hard not to see dog balls sometimes. And so
that's actually the tagline on our next movie.
It's hard not to see dog balls sometimes.
Yeah.
Is it about the dog man or man dog?
No, we're gonna make something up now.
Okay,
it's
good.
Gonna have to go. The tagline came first, so.
I'm just curious about that, especially with Mothman. I mean, we've read a lot of stories about Goatman, and very rarely will we run into a Bigfoot sighting where they talk about genitalia. There's occasionally we'll read a story that about like maybe a woman who's had an affair with a Bigfoot in a marijuana field or something like that. But very rarely do people recount those kind of details. And I think that's actually quite critical for any kind of believability in these paranormal sightings. Very bizarre.
Sure. Yeah.
Have you heard of the missing 411 phenomenon?
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
Oh, man. You really... So missing 411 fans are notoriously defensive.
Yeah.
So I've been run through the ringer because of a podcast I used to do about Bigfoot, where I spoke very frankly about my beliefs in these things. And
they hate us, and we get death threats all the time. So don't feel bad.
Well, here's I've seen David speak in person, and he did a really good job. And I think David it's definitely an intriguing concept. I don't understand where he's going with any of it. So, and I know that I say things like that, and then the typical response is, well, you're an idiot, and this is what you're supposed to do if you're an investigator. You just put the information out there. And I'm like, well, I get that, but when you're charging $40 a book and the information just keeps coming and coming and coming, and there's never any, conclusions being drawn or some sort of pointers towards something. But at the same time, I really respect the guy because, he's obviously putting a lot of work into this. So I don't know.
Well, I'm right there with you.
I've gotten so defensive anymore because of how, seriously, I've had, like you said, death threats. I had a guy say after I mentioned 411, and I'm not even demeaning against 411. I pretty much just speak my mind on things. And I had a guy say that he wanted to take me out in the woods and feed me to a bear. So that was fun.
Did he do that?
Like a hairy, fat gay guy, or what?
No, I have no idea. You know, his profile picture was Homer Simpson. So.
I find like the more we post on YouTube, our clips from this podcast on YouTube, the Bigfoot community, the missing 401 community, they're all very closely knit, and they have a belief system. And if you rock the boat either way, they come down hard. It's like a religion.
Oh sure, yeah. No, it is, and like we've definitely found our niche within the Bigfoot community. There's a very specific like type of people who really respond to our work and support us and all that kind of stuff. But there is a contingent of the community that can't stand us. Can't stand me. It's not us. It's just me. And that's just from having like you guys. It's just from I had a podcast and you know it had a following because it was about Bigfoot. So
why did you stop doing your podcast?
The movies mostly. I just my wife's having a baby in April, so it's like between we're putting out 2 movies this year, having a kid. I'm working on a book, and then I've got events throughout the year. I'm flying to San Francisco. I'm going to Montana. I've got screenings and all kinds of stuff. So mostly it was a time thing. But I handed it over to my co-host, and he does it with his son now. So
what kind of baby you having?
Is it yours?
Are you having a Bigfoot baby or?
Yeah, no, totally, 100% Bigfoot.
Oh, nice, good,
perfect.
Yeah,
put that up on YouTube. You get some hits.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Seth, thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to talk with us, and we'll definitely post a link up to your Kickstarter, The Mothman of Point Pleasant and the Invasion of Chestnut Ridge. Definitely donate to this Kickstarter. He's about halfway there so far. Get on there. He's got various levels of donation. Support Seth. Go to smalltownmonsters.com and buy some shit from him.
We're at like 230% funded actually. Yeah. So we're fine.
I can't read that well.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I wrote it backwards.
Dude, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
Well, still good.
I thought $22,153 is a very oddly specific goal to set.
Yeah, well, it's like he's very particular. He knows exactly what he needs. He knows how to budget stuff.
Well, obviously not.
Well, look, I'm dyslexic and I'm stupid. What do you want from me? What?
Oh, but it's endearing.
Yeah, whatever. So he didn't need to even come on the show.
You know what? I should have let that go when you said it's only halfway there.
I read it backwards. Fuck.
It's okay.
Well, I actually have a quick question. Is there any way to buy like digital copies of your current movies that you have now on the site? Okay, I was looking at the store and it only looks like it's DVDs. Yeah,
we're working on an updated website that'll clearly point everyone to this stuff, but we're on Amazon. So in fact, our second movie is free on Prime right now, so you can watch Beast of Whitehall for free. Minerva Monster and Boggy Creek Monster are both on Amazon, and then if you want to buy like DRM free downloads, you can get them through Vimeo on demand.
Awesome. Look, I'd love to watch some documentaries on these weird creatures in Ohio, my backyard. It'd be great.
Yeah, that's what Minerva is. Minerva is Ohio.
Oh, I remember. I used to be on the basketball team. We used to play Minerva all the time. He used to kick our ass. Oh, I know.
That's kind of surprising because it's a whole lot of white kids.
Well, I was on a whole bunch of white kids when my basketball team. Horrible team.
All right.
Very embarrassing.
If you get some Bigfoot junk shots or some Mothman junk shots, come back on the show, please, as soon as possible. Actually, we'll do a YouTube hangout so we can screen share these junk shots.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, yeah, thank you very much, Seth. And next time up in Wadsworth, we'll get together, have a beer, maybe we can toilet paper a house together or something. I don't know.
Cool. There's nothing else to do here. So.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, Seth, and take care. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Yeah. See you.
All right. There he goes.
Okay.
That's amazing. Completely overfunded. That's a great problem to have.
Absolutely. I read it completely backwards, and that's why I was surprised. He was like 200% funded. I thought he needed exactly $22,153.
Of his pledged goal of $9,500.
Look, I read it backwards, crazy. Clown baby.
No, it's really kind of hard to read that backwards.
He's not a reader. All right, we missed it. He's a man, not a reader.
I'm at least going to give him $15 so I can get digital copies of each of these, because I think that's both these topics are really interesting. It's what we talk about when we do monsters, talking about them, and a lot of other stuff like Missing 411.
And what I got out of his talk, like he's like he's kind of like us. He indulges in a topic, and he talks about them, but he doesn't really come down hard either way. He doesn't really try to convince the audience. He just kind of talks about what he discovers and reports on it, and that's it. He's just having a conversation.
And he catches flack for not being hardcore enough for these folks.
Not sure if he's ready for the genitalia question.
He was ready. I think he's all in on the genitalia. Yeah. In fact, I think he said that my observation of the lack of genitalia reporting is critical to the cryptozoological community in confirming these reports and sightings.
And I went back and I watched the Gimlin film, and I'm looking at it, and yeah, that is a hot set of tits. Well, they're a little
the Patterson film.
Well, yeah, that one. The Patterson film. Yeah,
you didn't watch it.
No, well, I'm rewatching it. I'm reading. Here's what the Bigfoot Patterson Gimlin film.
Let me see the Patterson film. I mean, it's been a while since I've looked at it.
Yeah, it was a while since I looked at it. So I went back and looked at it, and it looks like this Bigfoot could use a bra, but I understand that if you're a Bigfoot, you probably don't have bra shops or like Victoria's Secret out in the woods.
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, I guess I could.
Something out of trash bags.
Yeah, I guess I could jerk off to it. All right, yeah.
I already did while you guys were talking.
If I'm in a bind, yeah, I could do that. Yeah, that's fine. And I see. This Bigfoot has large tracts of land.
There's definitely some Cleveland steamers coming to her.
Wow, look at that. Yeah.